we can be ready here. And with that, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so as I said, this is Metal Storm. I'm currently the M308 gunner. He's a big mech sort of thing happening. And the big idea in this game is that I can flip gravity. So the laws of gravity don't apply to me, they're merely a suggestion. So we use that to traverse through the levels. You'll see that I picked up a couple of things there. One of those is an armor, which gives me an extra hit. Most of this game is one hit and you die. But the armor gives you a second hit, which I just used to blast through that dude right there. And that was the whole first stage. So this game is going to move pretty quick. This is the first boss. And, you know, pretty easy. The other thing that I picked up was the first two items I picked up, one was a shield, one was a weapon upgrade that turned me into a fireball when I switched to gravity, which is a pretty cool item for sure. But eventually I picked up a weapon that gives me this cool blaster here. This is the power blaster, and it kills everything super fast. So because it does that, that is the weapon we want for dealing with bosses and just about anything that, you know, takes damage. So I'll pick that up. And so we're already through to the second stage. That's a safety one-up just because it's a little late and I'm a little tired, and if I make a mistake, well, it could get bad in a hurry. So figure it's best to have a little bit of extra play there. Now, one of the things I want to mention about the M308 gunner is that I picked up the armor, but it can be a little hard to tell when you have it. But you'll notice that there's some red detailing on the gunner, and that is what signifies that you have the armor, the extra ability to take a damage boost, basically. And that was the second boss, so again, it's 2.5 minutes in, and we finished 2 full stages, so things are moving along. Now, this category is the any percent category, which has some wrong warps in it. And I'll talk about those in the next stage. Hopefully I get the 3 that I will be attempting. But this stage, the conceit is that it has these little snow speeders run along a track there. And it's, you know, they're completely repeatable as long as your movement is the same every time you play. So they're pretty repeatable. They're not super scary at all. And this is another relatively short section. That particular enemy we will see again later. He's on when you're in one type of direction and not in another. I just took a little bit of damage there, unfortunately, but that's not the end of the world. I can get away with that on this. Normally I would take a deboost if I didn't screw up that stage and bump into the spikes, but that's alright, because don't really lose a whole lot of time there. So, as I said, any percent and wrong warps. The 2 biggest ones are in Stage 4. And that is because Stage 4 is an auto-scroller. Now, the way they work is that if you pick up an armor and if you pick up an armor and get hit on the same frame, you can warp. And I missed it. So now we're going to have to sit through an auto-scroller. So this is why this is, you know, a little unrepeatable. Unfortunately, that's a warp I usually hit about 70% of the time. So of course I missed it. But the bright side is that you get to hear this awesome music. This is, I think, some of the best music in the game, so it's not the end of the world. Now, the unfortunate thing about it is that missing the warp on this stage means that I can't go for the warp on the next screen, or on 4-2, because it's broken by the fact that I missed it here. You have to hit both, or you have to hit the first to make the second functional. So I can show you where it is, but I'm not going to try for it because it doesn't really do anything. Well, all it will do then is kick me back to the beginning of the stage. A wrong warp, if you take damage, will just kick you back to the beginning of the stage that you're in. So right here, you would usually grab that armor and have this little shrimp thing hit you. But as I said, unfortunately, I screwed up the warp, so we don't get to see that, which means, again, about 2 minutes are lost if you miss those wrong warps. So if you're playing any percent, you basically you're saving 2 minutes off the warpless run simply by those 2 warps alone. Now we get these guys who show up. They'll this is a particularly laggy section, so we actually don't want to kill them as fast as possible. We want to give it a short break in between, just because there's so much stuff on the screen, it slows the game down. And this is, I just know where these enemies spawn, so it's you're just gonna go stand over in this corner now, and I can just wait until the boss fight. So unfortunately, I didn't show off any of the warps. I'll show off one in stage 5, assuming I don't screw something up there. But this is the stage 4 boss, and I'm not having a great fight, but that's alright. Alright. So that is 4 of the 7 stages down, and the 7th stage is just a boss rush. So not a whole lot going on. Now, stage 5 for a casual player is probably the bane of their existence, because it's the bane of my existence as a speedrunner. This stage can be brutal. You know what? I'm going to give this a second, because I don't know that I did enough damage to that guy to get up there without taking a hit. And if you take damage, you break the wrong warps. So I don't want to do that. Now, that C there is called the Crusher, and what it does is anything that's on screen, it just wipes it out. So that's one of the many different power-ups that this game has. Alright, so you see this encroaching wall of doom, right? We're going to use that. And hopefully, what I will do is I will grab this armor when it is on screen, and this will warp me forward to the stage 5 boss. Give me 1 second. Nailed it! So there's a wrong warp for you. This isn't any percent run now. Hooray. And that was bound to happen. Screwed up the stage 5 boss a little bit there. Oh, wow. It's alright, that's why we got the 1-up earlier, for sure. For exactly this occasion. Think we're safe here. Nope. This stage 5 boss is probably the hardest in the game, because your location is very tight, and where you need to stand to survive is very close. As long as I get through this, there we go. It took a few tries, but we're through there. It's alright, that's why I got the 1-up. I wanted to make sure that whatever bad things happened, I was prepared for them. Now, stage 6 is pretty cool. It's got these guys, again, that are on depending upon which direction the gravity is working. So they're pretty neat. This section, basically the world, kind of wraps around in on itself. So this is definitely a neat stage that you can do a lot of cool stuff with. So, just picked up that armor. That's actually the location of another wrong warp. But that one's pretty tight, and I'm not practiced at it, so I'm not going for it. Now we get to the stage 6 boss. And this is a pretty neat boss, I think. It's got these 3 dudes that roll around in a circle while you have some Battletoads ships going on in the background. Whoops, missed one. But you can just ride these. There's a very fast strat to kill these guys that I don't know, and it looks really cool when you do it right, but it's almost certain to get you killed if you mess it up. And sometimes you can get it wrong even when you don't mess it up, so even when you don't go for the quick kill. But that's stage 6. We are at probably about 2 minutes until the end of this stage. Now, one of the nice things about this game is that now that I'm here, I will always be able to pick up the power weapon, and I won't be able to have armor for any of these bosses, but if I game over, it'll just start me back on whatever boss I died. So, when I inevitably screw up the stage 5 boss again, it won't be that big of a time loss. So that's good. And so all that happens here is you just go through the refights of these bosses. They play exactly the same as they did the first time. But now there's an additional thing at the very end, which is activating the self-destruct mechanism. This boss rush, I guess, is a good time to talk about the story. The M308 gunner, or Fat Samus, has been sent to a space station on the outskirts of Pluto to destroy it because the AI that is on board that station has gone rogue and wants to destroy Earth and has a laser weapon to do so. So, very much, can't trust AI is all that is, you know? That's, as I said, that was going to happen. That is a really tight jump. Believe me when I tell you it is not free. But I get the power weapon, and I just have to go do this again anyway, so it's really not the end of the world. That's the second time that it's hit me like that, and that's usually not the case. This boss is RNG, but if you stand here and do do it correctly, it's completely repeatable every time, and for some reason now I'm having a really hard time with that. And that one I just screwed up the inputs, so that's, great. I'm right on the edge there. I've got 1 pixel. There we go. Now he's done. Woof. What? A stage 5 boss just making my life difficult. But I can go stand on those spikes. If you remember they're there. Alright. So long as I don't make a brain fart here, we should be pretty good to finish up. This is a really bad boss to die on because it takes a good bit of time for this boss to go through because you can only hit them when the doors are open on the little mechanical brain things that they have. Time's coming up here when the self-destruct mechanism connects. And that is right now. Alright, 1341, 1345-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. Not too bad.
GG. That was fast.
It sure could have been better. The stage 5 boss just did not want to play ball tonight. That's all right.
Good run. Good run.